Hi, Meghan. How are you?
I'm great, Ranjeet. How are you doing?
Wonderful. So, thank you for having me again today.
Absolutely. Thanks for your willingness to answer all of these questions that we're about to go through.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Yes. Wonderful. So we'll get started. Our first question comes from RG, and he asks, how can one effectively showcase contributions made to projects involving confidential company or client information, all while respecting contractual agreements?
Absolutely. And this is a very vital question, Aji, because while your intent to apply for EB1A is very good, but also at the same time, you have to have a little privacy. And I understand this question would be more related to a critical role. Now, there are two ways to kind of tackle with this. Number one is remember the objective of the whole addressing this criteria is to showcase your expertise and how you manage the roles that were bestowed upon you. You don't have to even name that particular client. There could be a specific letter stating that from your employer or from your company or from your manager stating that this is what, let's say it's Meghan. So Meghan did a particular job and she was critical in working with a client X. What you performed is more important. How you performed is more important. How did your expertise impacted the output or the success metrics of that is more important. It could be in terms of revenue. It could be in terms of time saved. It could be in terms of trying to possibly do a lot more other things that change the dynamics of the company, help improve a share price or something like this. So whatever it could be, you don't have to kind of explicit about the client's name also. It could be X. So also at the same time, you could say in the letter that a particular Meghan has been part of it, and we are kind of to protect in the interest of confidentiality. We are not the name of the client is being withheld or whatever this is. So something like this also might be mentioned, and we have seen that happening with many of our students who got successful EB1A, and we have seen that doing it actually. So that should not be a problem at all. I hope that answers the questions, Meghan.
Yes, thank you. And now our second question is from Sanjay. He has questions regarding our Next League program, and he asks, if I join the Next League program, will someone help in reviewing the drafted support letters and recommendation letters? And he has two other questions. I'll let you answer that one first.
Okay, definitely we do give education input. We have a certain structure that has been successfully working for a lot of people. Because for the purpose of EB1A, how you create a metric, how you define a metric, we are more than happy to give you. And also, if you draft the letter with your attorney, we closely at a particular moment of time when you are, kind of with your attorney, we are happy to collaborate with your attorney. That's a part of the agreement that becomes. But you should think about all these things only when you are ready. Actually, this is at the final stage. We have a done process, so this becomes more at an execute stage when you work with the attorney. The letters are there. We're more than happy to do that. Actually, yeah.
Fantastic. And then his second question is, will I get help from Ranjeet and your team to review the final draft of the petition?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think this is a more extension of the first question itself, actually. So the petition incorporates your expert opinions or recommendation letter. We would be holistically happy to give our education input. As I said, if your lawyer is preparing it, then we definitely would be happy to work with the lawyer to give our education inputs into that, actually.
Awesome. And the last part of his question is, if I join the Next League program, how many one-on-ones do I get with Ranjeet?
Oh, I mean, frankly speaking, you see, our whole idea is not to count one-on-ones. Actually, is to more on a mission-oriented. We want to make your success as our success. So I mean, it's not really a counting of one-on-one matters. What you do things, and if you need to be inspired, and we need to mutually inspire each other. Let's put it that way. For me to help you, and we have been doing that. We don't count one-on-one. Anything that would help you, we'll be more than happy to do that. So that's how it is actually.
Absolutely. Awesome.
We have actually two guests here. One is Anup and Lalit. So first, I think we'll take Anup. So let's see. Hi Anup, how are you?
Hi Ranjeet, I'm good. Um,
Wonderful.
um,
How
how
can
are
I
you?
help?
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I have a quick couple of questions. One, so while, I just heard that, I mean, this is something to worry about at the execute stage. So, um, can two applications be done at the same time? Like, employer basically has prepared one, and then I do it in parallel again in a different category. Like, if the employer is doing it in EB2 and if I do it in EB1A, so like can both coexist at the same time? It works.
Absolutely. You can do that's not a problem. Those are independent application. People have been doing that, so that should not bother you at all, actually.
Okay. And my second question is that what could go wrong, like in your experience? So what, after doing all of this, like what could potentially go wrong with the application? So like what are some things that could go wrong? I mean, it's a very overloaded or like a very broad question, I guess, but I don't know like how to um
No, you
specify.
see, anything. It's like, Anup, I can answer this more from a philosophical perspective and from a very practical perspective. Let me
Sure,
try.
sure.
Anything can go wrong anytime you cross the road, something can hit you. It's as simple as that. So, I don't have a specific answer to this, but having said this, I think the key part is that uh, this program, what we talk about, is not really about, you know, there is no certainty as such, of course, definitely. But what we have seen that people following the process have a very less chance or less likelihood of rejection or RFEs. Because our objective is not to build up your profile for the purpose of your EB1A, but to also help you to navigate through the whole and then giving you an education input in how to work with a lawyer, how you can draft your petition, what are the small elements that you should be mindful of. So in our whole program, we have over 16 success stories, and more are coming. Maybe by another couple of months, we will see more. At least, hopefully, 20 or plus minus, actually something like this. So what we have seen, and all of them have had no RFEs also, barring one or two people. Now, one of the things what we have seen that you have to be focused towards granular detail, towards your details of your whole petition, what you do, line by line. You cannot leave things to casualness. Actually, let's understand that. And there are 1,000 elements, maybe I can 10,000, but you'll have to go through it in a very granular manner. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. There is nothing can, as such, nothing can go wrong as long as you are following the process. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Okay, anything else I could do with you, Anu?
No, not at the moment. No.
So wonderful, and wish you all the best, Anu.
Thank you. Thanks.
Wonderful.
All right. Thanks, Anoop. Okay.
Thanks, Meghan.
You're welcome.
We have Lalit here, so we shall be getting Lalit on the stage. So, hi
So-
Lalit, how are you?
Sounds awesome. Thank you, Ranjeet. I'm doing good. So, quick question here. So basically, I'm actually reading and hearing a lot of things about citation count in the EB1A journey, and when the adjudication is being done, it's adjudicators basically look at your citation counts. But some people, in some forums, I'm actually also reading about, it's not that important. So this is my first question, and my second.
Let's go to the first question actually. So let's go to the question. As far as your citation is concerned, let's understand citations are not prescribed or mandatory by anybody actually. So if somebody says that citation, there is in fact a case law which warrants that you don't have to. Citation is not a metric for any scholarly article. For that matter, even scholarly articles is just one of the leverage criteria that you have to use to prove your expertise. But even that is not necessary. So you don't have to worry about citations or anything like that. If you have, it is good. If you don't have, that's also okay.
Understood. Thank you very much, Ranjeet. So my second question is regarding the program. I actually read a lot of things about your program. So the question here is, RFE in this case of EB1A, it is kind of very common. So how do you support or how do you help if a candidate gets an RFE or an NOID or something like that?
Okay, first thing, I don't know from where you are hearing it is very common. In our program, we have some 18 to 19 people have applied, only 2 people got RFEs. Let me be honest with you. So it's not something that I would see that as very common or something. If you don't prepare yourself, it is definitely not a challenge. If you receive, we'll be more than happy to identify what are the causes for that. But initially itself, we would like to have you submit your document with a submission with working with your lawyer to make sure that it is basically an ironclad actually and bulletproof. That's the first step itself. And in case you were to get it for some reason, it's happy to help you to understand the complexities of it from an education perspective and simply give you what best you should be doing in your interest. So that's how it would be. And if you follow the process, I think the previous gentleman, Anup, was also asking, what can go wrong here, actually? I think that was a very good question. I mean, we have seen that if people follow the process, it has been great for them, actually. So that's why we got almost, I think, 15 people getting it without RFE. I hope you appreciate that, Lilith.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much, Ranjeet.
Any other questions that I could help you with?
I'm good. I'm good so far. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful, and wish you all the best, and God bless you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Meghan, we had Narit and Anup. So you have, I think we have a couple of other questions also. Let's take them.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, Lalit. And we'll go on to our questions now. So the next one is from Pooja. She says, how do I prove my original contribution if I'm working in a company?
Well, yeah, actually, this Pooja, it's one of my favorite questions actually, because normally what happens is it's original contribution always to the field, not to your company specifically. And most of the people who realize, and I mean, again, as I said, Anup asked a good question. Actually, what can go wrong is lack of understanding of the whole, understanding of the whole regulation itself can go wrong at the first place itself. So one has to clearly understand that original contribution is not really about your contribution to the company, but it is actually original contribution to the field. Now, how do you prove your original contribution criteria if you are working in an organization? Now, there could be certain tools, certain methods, certain established proven methods, or it could be a patent which is being utilized by you. If that patent can be manifested if you have been awarded a patent, I think that is one way. So even if the company has earned it, so that establishes a framework. And even if you have earned a patent, that is one way to prove an original contribution. Patent can definitely manifest itself to be an original contribution because there is a good impact factor and a result being produced by the company. So that is one and short way of doing that. Second way could be if you have a certain process or certain framework which is being adopted by something outside by your company. That's another way to kind of showcase your original contribution criteria, even though you are working in a company. Of course, there are a lot of other ways also, but one of the additional ways which I have seen that some of the students, apart from patents or certain frameworks which are being adopted, is that many companies have case studies. So, it is being taught in some business schools or something. That case study could be served as an original contribution itself, actually, because you have done some work and that gets, reported as a case study and that is being taught by various institutions. I know we have a student, actually, her case is being taught in XLRI. And, I think that's a very good way of doing things because there is something beyond you and people are learning something out of the work that you have done. That definitely showcases your expertise. So that would be another way. Of course, we can always be creative about it. And one of the most unique things what I have seen about EB1A is that it allows you to be creative. One can always expand the horizons and it's not a specific checkbox oriented. It's not very objective. People say that it is very subjective, but you can decide that there is you can create the objectivity in that subjectivity. That itself is a very good. Well, it's not that, okay, you need to have a PhD, you don't have to have citations. I think that was another question that was asked, that, okay, do I need citations? No, it's absolutely not required. There is a very unique thing which I'm going to share with you that someone did a very beautiful article in our program that did not have any citations, in fact. But a particular company used that to apply it in their business. And he got an acknowledgement from that, and we presented that as an original contribution for this particular person who recently got his EB1A. And this is also one way. So even though he was working with company X, he wrote a paper about more akin to a case study, let's put it that way, establishing some kind of a framework, and that got published, and some company used that framework, that Y company used it, and he got a letter from Y company, and also the benefit how the X company got it. So the letter from the X company was used as a critical role, and the letter from the Y company was used for the same work in as original contribution. Now that's how creative that you can be, Meghan. So Pooja, I think you're good. These possibilities do exist for you.
Yeah, love that. And then she has a second question. Can I still publish academic papers even if I'm employed by a company, meaning I'm not a PhD student and not employed by any university or academic institution? And if so, how will your program help me write and publish papers?
You see, we don't help you to write paper, but there are certain tools, techniques, there are certain sessions we have in terms of how to express yourself, how to write a scholarly article, how to identify the journals, how to reach out to editors of various journals. It could be articles could be let's say in your subject, it could be our students have writing in the best of the best journals, even with high impact factors. People have been writing in Forbes, have been contributed to Forbes also, actually, such kind of publications. They have been kind of written in something like New York Post or Washington Post also. So you name the publications, our students have been there. So there are a lot of opportunities we will tell you to explore, but remember, you will have to do a lot of work actually. So let's be honest about the fact here.
Absolutely. Okay, the next question comes from an anonymous member. They say, my company is very strict about intellectual property. How can I meet some of the criteria like writing papers or speaking about my work if I'm not allowed to talk about what I'm working on in my current role?
I think it's similar to the earlier question that was asked actually. This is a common problem we have seen with many of the students we have seen. And I think the best way to deal with this given situation is to kind of take up an anonymous case study, or don't use the word or the name of your client or your company also actually. You can always talk about the output, remember, and the impact factor and how you did the work. That's very much possible. Remember, one thing we have to realize, friends, that EB1A is actually not about you here, is about the impact that you have created. So definitely the impact can be created by withholding the names of the people also. And Meghan, we have one more guest right now here, Gunjan. So I would be requesting her to join, and let's see what she has to say.
Wonderful.
Hi, Gunjan. How are you?
Hi, Ranjeet. I'm doing good. It's been a while, so good to reconnect.
Absolutely.
Do you want me to introduce myself or say something about this program?
Absolutely. What's your question? Let's talk about your, kind of question. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it, but I can always come up with questions. It's easier. So my first question is more around, like there are 6 or 7 criteria and you have to meet as many as you can, minimum 3, and particularly around like publication and also judging competition. There are so many of them. Like, how do we decide which ones are relevant and which ones are not good? So if you can throw some light around, like, how do you guide people, or what are some of the ways we can identify what kind of publications and judging competitions to prioritize?
Okay, Gunjan. I think first let me tell you, I've seen your profile yesterday. Meghan did show it to me. So congratulations. I think you have achieved a lot in your career. So I think that makes you a good, promising candidate for your EB1A readiness journey. Having said this, let me be, kind of, most of the people that they commit mistakes, that what we have seen initially before they join the program or before they embark on their EB1A readiness, is the fact that they focus on the criteria. The idea is not to focus on the criteria. I have always been saying the idea is to first create a success narrative about your profile, where the criteria have to fit into you. If you truly see any extraordinary person, and most of the people even who got their EB1A, our first focus in few months is going to be to kind of create a narrative, and that we do. The whole process that we follow is the done process. The first is defining your expertise. then you have to present yourself as a criteria. So you have to think of this, that the criterias are a way to leverage or demonstrate your expertise. Remember, the idea is not to prove that you fulfill the criteria, because we have seen some people even before they join the program and people who have not followed the process properly, some people have even got 8 criteria approved and yet got rejected. So if you focus on criteria, you get nowhere. The idea is that you have to essentially establish that you are in the top 1% or 10%, we can say that, in your field of expertise. Now, can you prove this without any 10 criteria? Then also you can get EB1A. So we have seen certain case studies after having studied over 1,000 cases, after having met at least 40 to 50 EB1A achievers, at least 20, almost 16 to 20 from our program also, or who are in the pathway. I can tell you one thing with certainty that it's not about criteria. It's about you being in the top of your field. If you can prove it without even fulfilling the criteria, you can use something called as comparable evidence, and you can do that. And we have seen those kind of case studies also.
Yeah, I think that's a very good answer, and that kind of answers or addresses some of the concerns I had. That's the only question I had at this point. I'll let others speak.
Absolutely. But also I will tell you, I think there was another part of your question which spoke about, I think, how do we help? I mean, specifically then you're asking about, well, we do, let us say, for example, if you follow the done process, once you define your expertise and organize the focus criteria which resonate with your personality. You see, for example, many students in our program, they would not have got even awards also. They would not written any scholarly articles also. But they would have done certain other things that would resonate with USCIS, highlighting their expertise to a level of being in the top of their field in the world. Now, it could mean by joining certain membership organizations. It could be even mean, for example, writing some articles, let us say. So there is no criteria or there is no element that we have left behind for you that should not help you. So it could mean list of membership organizations. This could mean how you should learn to present yourself. So we'll have everything for you that is going to take you to the next level. Actually, the whole idea is to help you become the best version of yourself. And where EB1A is just a milestone in your whole professional journey. I hope that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does. I think it answers my question. I think I was looking at it more in terms of criteria, but I need to expand my thoughts. Thank you.
Absolutely. So wonderful. Any other questions I could help you with?
Nothing at the moment. I'll reach out if I come up with any other question. Thank you.
Definitely, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Gajan. All right.
We'll take just one last question for the day, Meghan.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. For our last question, an anonymous member says, how do you help your students get featured in major publications and get media attention?
You see, as I said, that we try to, our students have been featured in Forbes, our students have been featured in New York Post, or, I think Washington Post, and a couple of other publications also, actually, a lot more than that. So we help them to enhance their own profile. We tell them certain tools and techniques, how they should be approaching certain journalists that is going to kind of position them as an expert. Remember, no journalist or no publication is going to write about you or talk about you if there is no substance or a story behind it. Your first step is to position you as an expert. Number 2 is you need to kind of create some kind of a narrative that should attract a journalist. And third is that your opinion should matter, which is very unique. You should have some views on something. Otherwise, we are simply doing our jobs. We are simply doing something that is not going to take us anywhere, actually. So we help our students to kind of navigate across all the things that would help them to position themselves for the purpose of they getting or they get featured in any publication. But before that, I would like to say that the key aspect is they need to create something about themselves, some kind of a narrative or a success that would make interest, actually. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I think that definitely clarifies it.
Absolutely. So thank you very much. It has been wonderful.
Yes, thank you, Ranjeet. Appreciate your time and answering all these questions. And we'll see you next Saturday on our next live Q&A.
absolutely. And friends, if you have any questions, please tell us in advance. We'll be happy to have you, like Gunjan, Anup, and Lalit, today as we had. And if you want to join the next free program, please click the link below, and Meghan will be happy to meet you. And we will deep dive into your profile for your enrollment session. So, wish you all the best, friends, and thank you very much. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye.
Bye.